Alright guys, we got a graphing day today. We're going to graph linear inequalities. So our graph's going to be lines, and then we're going to shade some too on the graph. So let's just hit it right here. Okay, the first one says graph y is less than or equal to negative 2x plus 1. This year we've already graphed stuff like y equals negative 2x minus 1. Hopefully remember that's slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form, remember, looks like y equals mx plus b, which means the slope on this one is negative 2. The y-intercept on this inequality is negative 1. So that's what I'm going to graph. I'm going to go to negative 1 on the y, which is right there is my y-intercept. Slope is negative 2, so I'm going to start at that point and rise negative 2, run 1. Then I'm going to connect the dots, la la la. But one thing to think about today, if this is less than or equal to, if there's an equal to section, my line is going to be a solid line. If it didn't have the equal to part, it would be a broken line. Okay, so make sure you look at that. I think you remember that from Algebra 1 probably. Then you got to figure out, you're going to shade one side or the other of that line. So what we're going to do, when we can, is we're going to plug in 0, 0 and just see if it works in the equation or not. Because if it works, we're going to shade toward the 0, 0. If it doesn't work, we'll shade away from it. So I'm going to put a 0 in for the y and a 0 in for the x. And when I do that, the left-hand side becomes 0, the right-hand side becomes negative 1. And I'm going to ask myself, is that true? Is 0 less than negative 1? And the answer to that question is no. 0 is bigger than negative 1. And so because 0, 0 does not work, I'm going to shade away from 0, 0 and shade this side of the line. Okay, so you're going to shade one side or the other. The only time you can't use 0, 0 to see where to shade is if your line actually went through the point 0, 0. Then you have to pick something else. You can technically pick any point you want to, except for the points on the line. To see where to shade, 0, 0 is just usually the easiest thing to plug in. Let's try a couple more. Like this one just says y. Y is greater than negative 3. I need you to remember that means the slope is 0. 0 slope. The y-intercept is negative 3, which means it's going to go right through negative 3 and be a horizontal line. Now, I'm drawing a broken line because there's no equals in the inequality. Okay, so it's going to be broken. And this one I don't really have to plug anything in. I mean, you can still plug in 0, 0 if you want to, but it tells me it's greater than negative 3, greater than negative 3. Whoa, sorry about that. Greater than negative 3 would be above the line. So I'm going to shade above on that one instead of below because of the greater than. You know what? I just messed that up. I'm just going to change the problem. That's easier now than fixing this video. Let's say it was positive 3. Sorry about that. Let's say it was positive 3 because I did the whole thing assuming it was positive 3 instead of negative 3. So sorry about that. One more. All right, this one says 2x plus y is less than 6. And this is standard form. It's not in slope-intercept form. I want to show you a quick trick on how to do this. You remember you need 2 points to draw a line. Instead of doing all the work to put it in slope-intercept form, you can graph that just by looking. I'm going to show you a method tomorrow called cover, which means I want you to take your finger right now. I'm doing it and they really can't tell, and cover up the y. If you cover up the y, it basically is your 2x and a 6. And 2 goes into 6 3 times, so it tells me the x-intercept is 3. And again, what I did is I looked at this, and I looked at that, and thought about how many times is 2 going to 6. Well, it goes 3 times. That means my x-intercept is 3, so I can put a point at 3 on the x-axis. Now I do the same thing. Cover up the 2x, look with your finger, just look at the y only, and then you basically have y as 6. So the y-intercept is going to be 6. That's the quickest way to graph stuff, is when it's standard form, and you can find 2 points like that. Now, it's a broken line because there's no equals. All right, so there's no broken line. Also, one good thing about this broken line, it does not go through 0, 0. And if you plug in 0, 0, what happens is 2 times 0 is 0, plus 0 is less than 6. Ask yourself, is 0 less than 6? Hopefully yourself says, yes it is, which means that point 0, 0 worked. So I'm going to shade the side of the line that goes towards 0, 0. And that's how you do. Okay, so our goal today is graph your line accurately, see if it's solid or broken, plug in a point, and shade the correct side. And really that's all there is to it. So we're building you up for something tomorrow. So kind of take today and enjoy it, and hopefully it's pretty easy for you. And we'll work on it like we always do. So I'll see you tomorrow.